Hey y'all, um, welcome back to my channel. Today is gonna be a completely different video than what I usually post on here or on my other channel. And I just wanted to tell y'all about it. I had a dream last night and I recently just woke up not even an hour ago that I went to hell. And it was pretty scary. It was pretty intense. But before I talk about that, I want to give like a little bit of a background. I've always had prophetic dreams. And I know even since I was a little like younger, like I know how people say like everybody always dreams, but you just don't remember it. But for me specifically regarding dreams, I would always see blackness until I woke up. So I never dreamed, but as I got into my adult life, I would dream more, and they would be something that would come true the next day or so. Like, for example, last year my daughter got sick, and I had a dream the night before that she was just vomiting all over the place, and the next day she woke up sick and she was vomiting all over the place. It was stuff like that. But over the past, I would say 2.5, 3 years now, things are getting more and more prophetic and more real. These dreams are more and more real. And the one that I had last night was probably the scariest one I've ever had. I never had a dream that I went to hell. And I'm not even sure if I want to call it hell. It was pretty dang close. It was more like a holding place, holding facility or something. But let's start here. I had seen 2 family members of mine who were there. The dream started off with me and my husband. Something happened. And we were being flipped. We were almost like we were in this like disc object, and we were being flipped into darkness. I don't know what it was. I don't know how it happened. We were being flipped into darkness, and I remember we were just holding each other like this and waiting for it to be over because we could see the darkness and we could feel the darkness. And the next thing you know, I wake up in this room and there's a whole bunch of people there. And as I'm standing there, I'm looking around at these people, and I realize that these are people that I've seen throughout my entire life. I remember seeing people from middle school. And I went to middle school in 97 and 98. That's showing my age. But so I'm standing there, I'm trying to figure out what's going on because we're in darkness. Like, there's a little bit of light. That's important. But it's darkness that I could feel. It was real. I felt it real. It was real in this dream that I had. And so this person comes out. There's a male. And he's like the facilitator, right? And I realized that, and he's like talking, to the new people that showed up. Had his like little clipboard and everything. It's almost like he didn't have eyes. His eyes were black. He didn't have life to him. He was almost like a zombie, but he was still moving. He was still alive and talking. But then I realized, like, all these people, like, we were handed like a number. And this number, every single person was designated a number, and I got mine. And I'm looking around, and all these numbers are from 1 to 10. And I realized that this is like a holding facility for hell. And I realized that the people who had these numbers, which included myself, these numbers were from 1 to 10, and there were people who had 10, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the facilitator guy looks at me and he said, those are the people who have been here a long time, and they're not going to make it out. And I said, well, I pretty much was like trying to figure out what were the significance of these numbers. And when he said that, and it kind of dawned on me, like, okay, what about the 1 through 5, And he looks at me and he says, you have a chance to get out. I realized that those people have been there for so long, and they only had a certain amount of time to work their way out. It was almost like a slavery. But the people who had the higher numbers, they were so far gone. So I look at my number, and I had number 2. And he looks at me and says, you have a chance to get out of here. You have 2 days to get out of here. Everybody has 2 days to get out of here. Or like the weekend to work to try to get out. But I realized, like, I don't know why I got number 2. But I realized, like, the higher numbers are the people who didn't care or had so much sin, like unrepentant sin, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, I'm not religious. I hate that word. I don't want nothing to do with religion, but I don't know what else to call it. Stuff that kept them from God or our Creator on purpose. And then there are the people in the middle who, the lukewarmers, I guess that's what you call it. And they've been trying to get out. And so when he looked at me, he said, you have a chance to get out of here. Because he points to the door. There was a doorway, and it was even more solid black. And he said, you do not want to go there. And then he said, you don't even want to be here, where I am a slave. I am here forever. I don't have a chance to get out. I don't have a chance to get out. You don't even want to be doing what I'm doing, just with my clipboard. You do not want to be here. Get out. And then I look to my left, and I see this guy here, and I don't recognize him throughout my life. Maybe I'll see him in the future or another dream or whatever. And he had number 1. His number was number 1. He was tall, and he had dark hair. And I looked to my left. I can only see his profile. But what I noticed the most was he was lit up. He was so bright. He had number 1. And you could just tell that he was going. He wasn't going to be there for long, wherever this was. And then I realized, like, he's lit up. And I realized, like, I have number 2. That's the number that was assigned to me. And I realized that looking down, almost like looking down the line of these numbers in this this room of people, and I'm pretty sure that these people there wasn't 10 people in this room. There were a lot of people in this room, and some people had the same number. But I only saw one guy that had the 1, and that was him, and he was shining so bright. But when I looked around, I realized that these people that had the later numbers were dark. They had darkness. And when they looked at me, they saw light. Just like when I saw the guy next to me. He was the brightest in the room. And then it was me. And then further, it was kind of like down the line. So when the people who had 10 looked at me, they saw brightness. So I don't know. I know what that means, but still trying to like talk it out. Trying to figure out what it means. it was the Holy Spirit, or it was God, or a creator. I don't really like to say God. That's his creator, that's his title, not his name. But just for the sake of talking, getting my stories out, I say God. But I had this light, like, and when he said, "You have a chance to get out of here," I felt the weight. I felt the weight of the severity of the dream. And then somebody walks around the guy that was bright, and it was like a dark figure. This was a family member of mine who I'm very close to. And they had a high number. At first they had black eyes. They were dark, but they were looking at me. And they pretty much were saying, like, looking at them, I could tell they've been there for a long time, and they're gonna be there for a long time. And they were looking at me, and they were proud that I was gonna get out. And my heart was so broken. We cannot take our life here for granted. We cannot just do whatever we want and think that we can get away with everything. We cannot. We cannot. But then I realized I came in there with my husband, and I never saw him again. I don't know what that means. I don't know what number. I never saw him again. I don't know what number he had. And then that was my husband ended up having to. He woke me up because he couldn't find something. So I got woken up out of that dream. So I don't know. I don't know what would have happened. But I woke up and I was just in shock. I said, I think I just had a dream where I went to hell, or I don't know what to call it. It's holding here. It was very close to hell, like right through that door where he pointed, where it was just all black, where you could feel the blackness and darkness. And then my husband held me, and I told him, "You were there," and I don't know what his reaction was, because I was already just frazzled in my own brain. I told him I saw this other family member there, and I just started, like, I was tearing up. I was choking up quite a bit. So he just held me and calmed me down a bit. But that's the thing, like, with these dreams that I've been having, I used to be able to, like, write them down, but now writing them down, no, I'm going to start recording and vlogging these, because I know that there are other people who have these type of dreams where people go to hell, they go to heaven. This is real. We're not just making this stuff up. And here's what triggered this whole thing. I'm not saying, like, because I didn't have anything to drink last night. I didn't have bad pizza. But during the day yesterday, I was telling God, I've just been feeling so distant. And I said, God, I want to be closer to you. And he told me, it was almost like a slap in the face. He's like, okay, I want you to be close. I want to be close to you too. But you have to stop drinking the way you do. And it kind of hit me, like, I'm really, with my own personal experiences. Note that. I'm really starting to drink that. See, I'm really starting to think that drinking the way I've been doing it is demonic possession. And he's telling me so clear, you want to be close to me? You need to lay this down. And then I have this dream. So I kind of get the feeling if I continue down this drinking the way I am, it's going to take my life. And I have 3 kids, a husband. They need me, I need them. I'm not afraid of death. I'm really not. Maybe how it happens, that'd be scary for a few minutes, but And then I just think about how I had the number 2. Maybe he's saying, this is your chance. This is your chance. You have a chance to get out. Other people don't. So, and I still make, I don't know if y'all can see it, it's over there on the counter. I make homemade wines and stuff, and it kind of dawned on me, like kind of like a light bulb moment. Drinking isn't the issue, it's being stupid. It's being irresponsible. It's blacking out. And that itself right there, like my family's telling me, I did this and this and this. Nothing really stupid. I'm not drinking and driving or anything like that. But it's just the fact that I don't remember anything. How is it? I don't know how else to describe demonic possession. Because I'm gone. You are gone. But you're still operating. You know what I mean? So I'm going to be laying it down. I do not want that. So that's the dream that I had. It really hit me in between the eyes, that's for sure, because seeing my 2 family members there. And I think what I'm going to talk to, I'm pretty much the only believer in my family, like, regarding, like, I know some people believe in God, but having, like, their own personal relationship, not religion, it's a relationship, it's, you know, but there are people in my family that are like, oh, the sky daddy, right? Or, you know, it's like, so I would much rather have an easier time talking to a stranger about all this stuff and then my family. But waking up after this dream, I don't even care. I'm going to say, hey, listen, you know, I've been seeing supernatural stuff. I see demons. I have seen angels. I've had these prophetic dreams. You know this. And you directly, like, in my dream, in this area. So I'm going to talk to them about that. I gotta do my job. I'm sorry to get emotional, but it was a pretty emotional dream. But thank y'all for listening. What can you lay down? What do you need to lay down to be closer to our Creator? Because look at how the world is going. I refuse to live my life in fear. Y'all have heard me say that in other videos. But if there's anything holding me back from that light that I saw and felt in my dream that was radiating from me and this other guy, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah. Because other people are looking at us who are in the darkness, and maybe they are trying to get out, but they don't know how. Lay down just you feel that tug at your heart, tugging at your heartstrings, just accept it. Because you do not want what this world has to offer. I sure the hell don't. Y'all have a good day.